Hey guys, Justin here. I know we did the early bird guide video for this week, but there's some very important updates, some different lines that I used, some race lines, racing against pros and learning from them. This is going to be a very good video. And also we have a sponsor for this video, so thank you to Cinnabar, aka Steve, for sponsoring his video. He provided this lovely car that we're going to run today, and his message was that you should donate below to the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And I'm going to be putting 100% of the money I get from the sponsorship today towards the link in the description where we can donate below. So I hope you guys can find a little bit to do the same, and that'd be really awesome, and I'd appreciate it. All right, let's get to the video. All right, let's take a look at that. So the reason I'm showing this again is because basically the track temp that we'll be doing in the race is a little bit hotter than what I was doing in the session, but I still got a better time, so I'll show you guys how I did that. So this is done on a 115-degree track temp, which is going to be the exact same as the race here. So run up is the same as it was in the early bird video. So we just do the same turn down early and make as straight of an exit as possible. And forgive me if I go over this pretty quickly, but I assume a lot of you guys have watched the previous video. I go in a little more depth, but I'm just going to tell you guys what's different between here and there. So the first thing is this line that I do. You see, I brake a little bit earlier. So I give up a little more time, and then I keep it a little bit lower. So in the other video, I probably, if my left side of the car, if this is where it is now, it was probably about right here throughout the corner. But I found that with really precise throttling, you can keep it a little lower and gain some extra time. So you see half, and then we smooth it up to full. And you see very loose, because the lower you go, the looser your car is going to get. So if you're all the way at the bottom on your hot lap, your exit's going to be mega loose. If you're all the way at the top, you're probably going to be a little tight. Excuse me. So this is kind of pushing the limits of how loose I like my car being on exit. But we see that it carries a lot of speed, and this is comparing my lap time to something I ran on a 110 track temp. So we're able to almost keep up with that time on this hot track. So very good. We carry the speed, and now I have a very different line to 3 and 4 here. So the big thing is that we were talking about, the biggest difference is I have a high brake bias. So the high brake bias at 75% for hot lap only didn't make too much of a difference in 1 and 2, because basically the reason I'm changing the brake bias is 1 and 2, the entry is more stable. You're going to think, oh, don't you need the rotation? You always talk about that. Well, on cold tires on the hot lap, your rotation into 1 is enough on its own to where you don't need your brake to help you, and you want to just go fast. So now 3 and 4, what we're doing to compensate for that is driving it deeper. You see I'm green right now. I drive it deeper into the corner, and I am aiming right at this yellow. And you know, I was talking about, okay, we want a diamond, we want to go up the track. Well, not really for hot lap. That's what I decided. I'm going up a tiny, tiny bit, but you see I'm right on the yellow. And right here, so this, you see this moment here where my glove kind of starts going back to the yellow. And a little, like my car is going back to the yellow. And so now I'm just trying to force the throttle there a little more. And now you see I don't have that same drive down on exit, but because we save so much time by not diamonding it, and we don't really lose that much speed on exit. So overall we lost about 200ths, no, about 100th to my best lap, but this is 100th on a 5-degree cooler track. So this is definitely the route that you want to go. You want to paint it to the yellow line, and you want to throttle as early as possible and almost get your lefts on that apron. So that's how my line is changed. And it's a little bit more difficult because the exit is just loose, loose, loose. You don't have that safety net of the straight exit. But That's what I found to be better, especially on this hot track. You use that high brake bias as a crutch to just kind of stop your car in the middle of the corner and just yank it on the yellow. This is not what you want to be doing during the race, by the way, but this is what I found to be the best for hot lap, and it got me the pole for the race. So let's see how I did. All right, so we did a race here, and it ended a little bit tragically. Well, we still got 6th, but I think we were good enough for 3rd, but we'll see what happened here. So I started 2nd. We got Derek and Kenny both in this race, both insanely fast. It's going to be a tough time for me this race. Right off the start, I'm sleeping. With single monitor, the only thing I hate about single monitor is that it's really hard to get good restarts. You're looking at his right front quarter panel pretty much. But I overdrive 1 a little bit here, so don't get on that throttle too early into turn 2 on the first lap because tires are cold, it's not going to stick. So I thought I could outdrive Derek off the turn, but I had to give it up. By the way, this new model with this really nice paint scheme looking really good right now. Really enjoy the paint. So we end up holding off 3rd place pretty easily on the outside. Oh boy. On the outside, pretty easy to hold off, just running a normal line. They can't really come up to the wall, so it's really tough on even tires to make that pass. So doing well there. And then, so we just pretty much go into a kind of trying to conserve. I'm not going to try to keep up with the leaders too much because they're just crazy speed here. So we fast forward a few laps and we'll take a look at what line I'm running here. So you see, I was talking about it in the early bird guide, but we're kind of just running the middle. I see it. I can be doing better, and I'll show you guys right here, is that I stomp onto partial way too quickly. That should be a smoother throttle up there. So that's something I can work on and something that you guys can learn from me. So that should be smoother, and then it's pretty smooth getting from partial to full. But that first little bit should be smoother. That would save some right front for sure. So we're just staying with them. I let them pull away, but I'm just not trying to push. And then unfortunately around right here, lap 14 here, I unfortunately destroy the car slightly. And the track where you don't want to be tight, I have a problem with the way this wall is angled. Look at the change in this angle of this wall. I'm scraping the rear, and then it just digs my right front in, and I get a ton of right front damage from it. So that really sucks. That made my car handle horrible for the rest of the race, and I couldn't hold off the guys behind me on the middle run. I could keep up with them on the long run, but I had to let them all by eventually because I was just way too tight after that wall hit, and that was really unfortunate. So I had to let Austin, Andrew, and Ryan by, which I did not want to, but that's how it had to be with that condition. But we were able to hold on to 6 for the rest of the race. So we'll take a look here, some of the final laps. Watching cockpit, anything I'm doing different. Still early brake. Let's see how my throttle up is here. Let's see, I need to work on my smoothness, and I now know that for next race. You see they kind of scrape the right rear on the wall a little bit, don't dig their right front in, fortunately for them. But I think at this point I'm kind of just trying to push too hard, trying to get to them. So yeah, that's the big deal here. We know the lines, we know the braking points, we know how much to be dragging the brake. It's just next step is that smooth throttle up. That'll be very helpful. Yeah, see, I'm not. It's just not happening. And then we'll try to look and do better for that next time, and maybe I'll update you here. All right, we did a second race here, and we actually got the pole by 1/1000th or less than 1/1000th over Derek, which was really funny to see. But I knew I don't have the speed for Derek and Mitchell, so I was just trying to maintain as long as possible, and we were actually able to hold the lead here. I was a little too conservative on turn 1. That allowed Derek to get right to me. I could have I probably should have done a higher line there in turn 1. And then in turn 3, I should have pushed the issue a little harder. And Derek was able to turn down the hill faster and try to make an early move. But luckily for me, I was able to hold the outside really well, and he got loose. So I was able to hold the lead for like 15. Well, we were a roadblock. Well, I was holding a decent pace for a while, but I know that there's some things I need to fix with myself to burn less right front than these guys are. Derek, Mitchell, Brett, all of them were a lot better on the right front than I was. And that's just stuff I personally have to work on, but it's just very minor things. So like going into this corner here, you'll see that I'm focusing on a little bit smoother throttling. There's still a bit of a light switch to half. I can definitely still work on that. But we were feeling pretty good. They were running a different line for me into turn 1. I'll show you right here. So Derek was able to get it a lot deeper into 1 than I was. I kind of arced it and kind of wrapped it around the line. Derek kind of goes a little lower, and I'm going to start working on this line. So he basically does what I do in qual, but it's hard for me to consistently get it on the right rear like he is. But this is very good on the tires because I'm kind of on the right rear, but it's definitely still has some weight on the right front. What Derek does here, it's definitely easier on the right front, and he's not losing any time. And then once we get, see, he's just closing in on the Tire Pros machine. So very, very good lines here. And Mitchell as well. Mitchell was the eventual winner. He was able to get by Derek. And he takes 3 shallower. And this is the line that I like. I just was missing it a lot because I'm not executing amazingly. But early in the week, I have some time to fix it. So yeah, Mitchell was kind of keeping it low for longer, which was very helpful for him on his tires. So I might implement that too, especially if I have a lot of room to the back. So a couple laps later was when I let them by, but I did it in a really dumb way. So Derek got a run to my inside, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to fight this. And my main goal was to not lose 4th. So I let them by and then hit the wall anyway. So it's amazing. Just classic. But at least our car looks good, right? At least our car looks good. And then I was saying, okay, I scraped the wall. That's no damage. All's well that ends well. We can just go about our race. And I'm literally talking to Discord, my friends on Discord. And as I'm saying that, I just hit the wall. So that was even, I don't think that did much. It wasn't like the last race, but I heated up the tires too much hitting the wall there because of that, how the Arca works, and I was just way too slow for the next couple laps, and Brett was able to get under me and take advantage. So I got some scuffs, but really nothing too bad. And then by the end of the race, I was back running decent lap times, ending on high 8s, low 9s. Front guys were running pretty much the same. Mitchell running mid 8s, low 8s. So that's kind of the difference in tires if you're able to save really well. As I didn't save too well, but I was really only a 10th off. But if I can't hold the track position, then that's not going to be worth it. So I knew that I had a tough ask going into it, racing against these really good guys. Still got 4th, happy about that. Really would have liked 3rd there. I think I had it in me. Derek had some issues trying to fight with Mitchell that allowed Brett to get around, but I think I could have finished 3rd behind them, and if I executed to the best of my ability. Not sure if I could have won with what I'm doing right now. So that's just stuff to work on. We saw what they're doing. We saw what I'm doing. Stuff to learn all the way around. So pretty awesome. Love the paint. Thanks, Steve, again. Make sure to check the link in the description. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.